What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Stock Hustle channel with your boy William. Today is Tuesday, December 28th. As always, to get the formalities out of the way, please understand nothing that is discussed on the channel is financial advice. It is simply financial education that I then hope people will use to understand you don't have to slave in those 9 to 5s. You can easily hustle 24/7 and still accomplish all those financial goals you have for yourself. As with anything else in life, you are always going to get out whatever you choose to put in. But let's get into it. So as you guys saw in the DraftKings video that I made yesterday, right, we discussed about the media talking and discussing a lot about Omicron, right, flight cancellations. There was just a lot of negative catalysts in the news. What subsequently happens after having such catalysts, we end up having red days or mixed days, right? So as you guys can see from the indices chart, it was a pretty mixed day today. Some of the big heavy hitters like Microsoft, Apple, Google, Nvidia, right, our favorites, AMD, MU, Pfizer, right, Adobe, all pretty much had some pretty heavy red days, right, which again it did affect the SPY specifically and the Qs. Even IWM I think was down today for the most part, but pretty much anything that was a major player essentially was down. You did have some bright spots, right, like Disney had a good day today, Walmart had a good day today, Boeing, right, Raytheon, just some of the couple ones that I've been watching, right, specifically. But today also I did find another gem through the hot chain specifically and through my watch list that alerted me. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Maybe it's a good little quick lotto play for this Friday or for subsequent next Friday, right? Because it does look like there may be a breakout happening, and it looks like the market is anticipating that. So there was increased volume today specifically in this ticker. So this ticker that I'm referring to is ROKU, right? So ROKU, so most of you guys may know, this is essentially a $400 stock as of, what was this, back in midsummer. This stock was almost hitting 500. It peaked out at 490.80 cents before it fell from grace, and it is now trading in 231.32 in this lower 312 to 200 channel that you guys see here. This red dashed line that you see on the chart is the point of control on a volume profile over a one-day chart. So as you guys have seen from previous videos that I made, the point of control, essentially if you are trading above it, it tends to pull you down towards it. If you are trading below it, it tends to pull you up towards it, right? So this is another little catalyst you need to pay attention to. If you are trading below the point of control, it has a tendency to pull you up towards it, right? Which is a good thing for anyone looking to trade, right? Especially options, because we're looking for specific movements in a stock specifically, right? But as you see today, we did have a green day. Essentially, we were up 1.49% or otherwise $3.39. So number one, when you go to the hot chains and unusual whales, you will see, if I can load my screen, on the main hot chains page specifically, about midway through the page, ROKU stands out. You see that it did have 157,000 call volume today, or otherwise an increase of 231%. You see that we did have 28,000 or 28.55 thousand put volume, or otherwise 71.4%. When you measure out those percentages, it is a 84.62% increase versus 73 yesterday. For puts, it's at 75.19 versus 30.46, right? On the right side, this is specifically where sometimes you can look for quick hit chains, right? Like something relatively close to your trading price, right? Well, again, as I mentioned, we're trading essentially at 231.32. So anything 230, 240, 250, 260 would be something that you would want to gravitate to your attention, right? Specifically, we actually have that. You see a 270 for this Friday's expiration for ROKU. You see a 240, excuse me, and you see a 250 for ROKU for this Friday's expiration, right? Once again, when you zoom out a little bit on the chart, you see this falling wedge, right? For those of you that don't know what a falling wedge is, took the liberty of pulling some pictures. This is essentially a falling wedge, right, where you trade within the wedge and then a breakout ensues following and pushing you towards the upside. Remember, another catalyst we have to the upside is the point of control, which is always going to be like a magnet to pull us up towards it, which is something, again, you need to be aware of, right? But essentially, as you see, we are essentially right at that point, right? If you go and do some intraday look, right, specifically for those of you curious to know what that level specifically would be, essentially it would be somewhere in the vicinity of around 242, 243, 244, right? So a break above that essentially is a breakout at that point. That would mean you would want to, most definitely, if you are interested in participating in this play, jump in at that point specifically. But When we go to unusual wells and use some of the other specific tools, right, going to intraday analysis, taking a look at some of the biggest options, you see that we did have some bought calls, specifically at the 190 for this Friday, for 415,000. You had another one for 315,000. You had two for the January 21st, which is a little bit further out, right? More than likely trying to lower their theta specifically. A total, I think it was 1.2 million when I ended it all together, and relatively within the next 21 days expiration. You did have a sold put here for 2023, right? A couple of those, but for the most part, again, relatively soon, we did have a lot of bullish momentum. When you look on the left side, most active chains, the 270, the 240, the 250, the 260, 245, 255, 235, right? Again, as you can see the trend, right, it's relatively within the range of a possibility of where the ticker could go. That grabs your attention. If you are also paying attention, you see that the open interest was essentially in the 1,000s or maybe max 3,000s for most of these strikes. And then you see that the volume today is 20 plus, 24,000, 24,000, 22,000, 11,000. Now, again, I understand volume is not an indication of bullishness or bearishness. However, it is something you need to pay attention to. If tomorrow we wake up and all of a sudden this volume is now converted to open interest, right? That is most definitely going to make this play an open interest gainer, in my opinion, right? Specifically, when you're looking at the highest open interest increases, right away, what stands out, the 260 for December 31st, you see that it increased from the previous day, 8,333 in volume. The other one was, the 275 increased 790. Essentially, if you're looking at these percentages, it's a 199% increase and a 101% increase, right? That is a lot of big increase for just a couple days expiration, right? Again, it's Tuesday. You're talking 2-3 days away. Like something that's really bullish for short term to put these big, massive bets, right? To give you a better representation or indication of that, if you go down to this chart that I like to show you guys, or I showed you in yesterday's video, right? On the left, you have open interest. On the right, you have volume. Drop this down to 100, so you see 100 strikes. If you need it for some bigger tickers, you might want to, right? Sometimes there are plays in the way lower strikes, right? They're just playing essentially high deltas. But set your expiration to December 31st, which is again this Friday. What automatically on the open interest side, you see that the 250 stands out and the 260. Again, we're in the 230s, right? So that's again upside potential just for this Friday. When you look at the volume then increases, you automatically see the 240, the 250, the 260, 265 is here, 260 is down here, and then you have the 270, right? These three automatically stand out and grab your eye, right? If you go and then go into a flow page and just break down the flow specifically for ROKU with only a 45-day expiration, so short term, right? Automatically you see that the December 31st is more bullish than bearish. The January 21st as well, as I mentioned earlier, and the ones we saw from the biggest option trades. And then you see that the strikes that stand out automatically, the 190, again, iDelta, the 240, the 250, the 260, the 310, and the 360 automatically stand out and grab your eye, right? Automatically, this makes it a very bullish play for me. When you go looking at the cost of what a play like this would be, you would expect it to be a significant amount of money because the ticker is way expensive, right? Because, again, it is a short-term expiration. For the December 31st, these are relatively inexpensive. When we go look at the specific strikes that you grabbed your eye or attention, right? Like the 260, you're talking a $58 contract. The 270 was a $33 contract, right? The 245, $163 contract. Again, not necessarily that expensive, in my opinion, when you take a look at the potential to the play. Now, yes, on these, obviously, you're going to have a super, super high theta, but again, the way I see this is more of a lotto play, right? I'm willing to bet 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks on an opportunity of a breakout and potentially riding up this massive wave for this breakout for ROKU specifically, right? Again, it's not like a guarantee. Again, this is more of a lotto play in my opinion, but in other cases, it's sometimes fun to have fun in the market, right? And not just always try to play things you can always automatically predict will go up just $1 or $2, right? This is a massive potential of a couple dollars swing, potentially 260, 270. I mean, you're talking $40, $50 swing potential, which again is going to be a significant amount of money in your pocket if it does end up hitting. But as always, guys, invest at your own risk. Please don't invest anything you're not willing to lose. Again, options are very risky. You need to understand the risk to reward ratio. Being that we are close to a level of support, again, being that they are really inexpensive, being that it is close to a breakout, being that we are trading under the point of control at the 323. This is something I'm comfortable investing in. But I'm sure some of you guys may have questions. If you do, please don't hesitate to drop them in the comments. Don't forget, you can always hit me up on Twitter or IG. And as always, guys, I will catch you in the next one.